Hello, girls. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good night, whenever you're watching this video. Okay, here's the next topic. So, the topic is issues in design of a code generator. Why we are coming directly to code generator? See, girls, we have done on lexical analyzer, we have done analysis, we have done semantic analyzer, then we have gone for intermediate code generator. When I was doing the phases of compiler, I have already said you that the next phase, that is the phase next to intermediate code generator, which is code optimizer, is an optional phase. It comes into play only when we need to optimize the code. But if the code given by the intermediate code generator is already in optimized form, then we don't need to go for the code optimizer, we directly go for the code generator. And hence in your syllabus also it is taking us directly to code generator, and later on it is going for the optimization phase. So let us first complete this thing of code generator. Here you see, girls, that we have this code generator, the target language. Okay, there is a code generator, the target language, address in the target code, and then register allocation and assignment. All these topics will be completing in this video. The first one is the code generator, the target language, the addresses in the target code, and the register allocation and assignment. All these are related to your code generator phase, so we'll be completing that in this video. Later on we'll be moving to the code optimization, which is very important as per your syllabus, not in the compiler phases but in your syllabus. In theoretical part, it's very important. So let us now move to the topic. Okay, girls, as I said you, the topic is issues in design of code generator. Fine. So here you see, girls, that we have lexical analyzer. Then lexical analyzer gave its output to syntax analyzer. Syntax analyzer gave its output to semantic analyzer, and then semantic analyzer goes for intermediate code generator. I missed out that thing. Intermediate code generator, then intermediate code generator goes for code optimizer, and code optimizer goes for code generator. These are the 6 phases of the compiler. Now this is the theoretical aspect of it. In the practical scenario, we have this front end. The front end comprises of your lexical analyzer, the syntax analyzer, the semantic analyzer. Is that clear? So we have the front end. So here in the front end we have lexical analyzer, syntax analyzer, and semantic analyzer. This front end give out the intermediate code generator, as you all know. Okay, that this front end goes for the intermediate code generator. What it takes along with it? It takes this intermediate code. Now intermediate code generator, what does the intermediate code generator do? It also produces intermediate code, which forms the input for code optimizer. Then code optimizer optimizes that intermediate code and gives it to the code generator. So over here you see both of this things, like the front end faces gives out intermediate code, and code optimizer also gives out the intermediate code. So what is the input for the code generator? It's the intermediate code. Now intermediate code is the input for the code generator, and what is it? The output of the code generator is a target program, which we are all striving for. Got my point, girls? Code generator takes, like, though code generator is not directly related to the intermediate code generator, it is related to, it is having code optimizer in between, but also but also it has intermediate code as its input and target program as its output. All of these phases are related to the symbol table. Now, depending upon the input and the output, there are some issues in the design of code generator. What is meant by the statement? The statement simply means that whenever we are designing a code generator, there can be some issues, and these issues are completely based on your input and your output. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, now over here you have the list of the issues. There are 6 issues altogether, and we will be learning about them one by one. So the first issue in the design of code generator is the input to code generator. Like whatever input is coming to the code generator, we can have the issue with that input. Now what is the input we are getting to the code generator? It is intermediate code. Now intermediate code forms the input to the code generator. Now this intermediate code can be of is a linear representation, and it can be of any forms, girls. Like we have already seen the postfix notation, we have done it right in the previous subjects also. Like a plus b can be written as ab plus, that is one notation. So intermediate code generator can be in that form, or it can be in the 3 address mode. We have learned about the 3 address mode. I guess everyone at least remember the word for it, right? The 3 address code. So the 3 address code is the another thing in which this input can take the form, or it can take the form of DAG. Over here you can see it is DAG. DAG directly stands for DAG stands for directed acrylic graph. We'll learn about it in the coming classes. Until now you are not required to know about it. You are required to know about it, but we'll learn about it later on. So over here you see, okay, so the intermediate code generator, which forms the input to the code generator. Sorry girls. So the intermediate code, which is the output of intermediate code generator or the code optimizer, is the input to the code generator, and it can take 3 forms. The first one is directed acrylic graph, that is DAG, which we'll be learning in the coming videos. Then the later on is postfix notation, and then there is 3 address code. Now what is the issue with this input is, this input, whatever input is coming to the code generator, it should be free of errors by performing proper type checking. Like it shouldn't have any of the errors. So that is the issue with the input to code generator. Very simple. Then is your target program. Now what is meant by the target program? See, the code generator as the input, as the output, it gives us the target program. Like the purpose of code generator is to give the target program, which is nothing but its output. So this target program can be of 3 forms. One is absolute machine language, the second thing is relocatable machine language, and the third thing is assembly language. Now girls, the output can take any of these 3 forms. It's completely different from each other. They are completely different from each other. So the output can be in absolute machine language. Now what do you mean by absolute machine language? Absolute machine language means absolute machine language means the executable code. It can be, the output can be .exe file also, or it can be .obj file, or it can be of assembly language. You're getting my point, girls? It can be in absolute machine language. Machine language means .exe file, or it can be in relocatable machine language, which means the .obj file, or it can be in assembly code. Now girls, very quick uh, thing over here. What is meant by this absolute machine language? I have said about it over here. You see that absolute machine language is, in this language what happens is all the variables, all the things are stored in fixed memory location. Like once it is stored, it will be used throughout the program. So everything is fixed over here. So this usually happens when we have a very small program. Like for example, we have learned about the hello program where we were simply typing printf hello. So for such programs, this .exe files comes into play. Then is your relocatable machine language. As the name suggests, it's relocatable. So you don't have a fixed memory location. You can use different memory locations, and this language usually comes in when you have very large programs. It also can be used when you have small programs or very big programs. So it serves a purpose for both the programs. And in this language we have this things called linker and loader. So linker and loader, what is meant by linker? It links. Linker means it, what it does. Linker, firstly, let me say this. What is meant by loader? See, relocatable machine language has linker and loader. What does loader do? Loader takes in the .exe file and loads it. ठीक है, जो भी exe फाइल आपको जनरेट हो चुकी है, जो एब्सोल्यूट मशीन लैंग्वेज है, उसको वो लोड करता है. और लिंकर क्या करता है? लिंकर लिंक्स इट टू द object code. Like for example, you see printf, the meaning of printf is stored in some stdio.h file, right? So the meaning of this printf is already defined. See, what printf does is a program. The program is already executed and it is in some .obj file. So that obj file is linked to your present program. In your present program, for example, you are using printf. So the meaning of the printf, the definition of the printf, its obj file is linked to this present program. Is that clear? Or for example, you're using the string operations. For example, strcmp, that is string compare. So string compare, what it does, it simply compares the string. So who says it needs to do this? It is said in some program, right? And that program is already executed and stored where? In string.h header file. So what happens now? You are working on a program which is using strcmp. Your present program is some xyz program, and in that you are using strcmp. So what does linker do? Linker links the strcmp object file to your present program. Very simple. It's very simple, girls. So relocatable machine language uses the linker and loader, and thus it is relocating. What it is relocating? It is by using this linker, it is relocating the object file of printf or strcmp in your present program. I hope the thing is clear to you. See, printf, what is printf doing is present somewhere. It's present in some stdio.h file and it is executed, and because it is executed, it is present in .obj file. That .obj file is linked to our present program, and in such a way it is relocating that obj file in our present program. That is the purpose of your relocatable machine language. Then is your assembly language. Assembly language, I hope every one of you are very much clear on it. Assembly language is that move, move, we use these things, right? Add or we use sub. This is assembly language, which is not completely machine language and which is not completely our English like language, high level language. It is the intermediate type of language. So this is about the target program, which comes again in one separate topic also in your syllabus. I hope it's clear to you. Okay, then what is the third issue with the code generator? It is memory management. Now see girls, as I said you, we have two ends. One is front end, which supports lexical analyzer, syntax analyzer, semantic analyzer, and then we have the back end, which is code optimizer and intermediate code generator, code optimizer and the code generator. Now girls, when the faces work, they primarily stores their value in the symbol table, right? See, I have said you in the last class, I have taken a one complete class on how symbol table works. So the front end and the back end stores its value in the symbol table, and this is about your memory management, how the front end and back end stores its value to get the to manage the memory. That is the issue, like how to do it. That is one issue with the code generator. What is the next issue? The next issue is instruction selection. See, we have as I said you, the code generator gives the output in the form of assembly code, right? Now to execute this thing, we need to select the best instruction possible. See, when we are executing a program, there can be many ways to write the program. Like if I give a program, you people can write it in many different ways, right? So we need to understand which is the best possible way to write to execute the program, so that it takes limited space and limited time. So over here you see I have very uh, good example over here. I have this thing which is a equals to a plus 1. It is obviously a 3 address code. It is the input to the code generator. Now it is getting converted over here. You see, this is my 3 address code. What I'm doing, I'm adding up a to 1 and I'm assigning it to a. Now this 3 address code is passed in the code generator and it generates the assembly code. Now you see how the assembly code is written. Firstly, what we are doing, we are moving a to R0. R0 is some register. Then what we are doing, we are adding constant 1. See, to denote constant we have used the hash. So we are adding the constant 1 to a. So a, where is a? A is already present in R0. So what we are doing, we are adding constant 1 to R0. So a and 1 get added over there and the result is stored in R0. Then what we are doing, we are moving the result in R0 to a. This is the assembly code for this 3 address code. Is that clear? Now the same thing can be written as increment a. The assembly code for the assembly code for this statement is like we are incrementing a by 1. So we can simply have the keyword inca. See girls, we have a plus plus in high level language. We are not doing it in high level language, we are doing it in assembly language. So what is the thing for assembly language? It is the keyword inc. So instead of using this entire code, we can simply write inca, which means to increment a. So we have these two codes over here. One is having 3 steps and one is having 1 step. So which one is the easiest one? It is obviously the right side one, that is inca. Moreover, registers are related to memory, whereas the keywords are related to registers directly. Like registers then goes for the memory, but when we use the keywords, it is directly related to the register. So obviously the speed of using the registers is less than the speed of using the keywords, because we are directly going for the registers. We are not, again going for the memory and wasting the time over here. So this clear to you? What is said over here, that the three address code, this three address code can have the assembly code written in two ways. One is this thing and the other thing is INCA. So what we will do, we'll simply use INCA, which is the perfect, which is a good instruction selection. So selecting a good instruction is also an important issue. Let us have one more example on this, girls, because this topic is very important. What it is a C. What's the next example over here? I'm adding a B plus C and I'm giving it to A. Then what I'm doing, I'm adding that A to E and giving it to D. Now this assembly code can be written in two ways. Let us see the first way. What I'm doing, I am moving B to some random register R0. Then what I'm doing, I'm adding C to that register. Then that value, which is the sum of B plus C, is in R0. That R0 is now moved to A. So the result is now moved to A, which is my first statement. Then what's the next statement? It is what I'm doing, what is my first variable over here? A. So I'm moving A to R0. Then I'm adding E to R0, and then what I'm doing, I am moving R0. That is, my result of A plus E is stored in R0, and that is now moved to the variable D. So this is my like the assembly code for this three address code. Now the same assembly code, if you observe, is doing something which is very redundant, like it is moving the result of B plus C in A, and then it is again moving A to R0, which is like no issue, like it's a redundant thing, which is a wastage thing. So I can simply have another code for it. It is what I'm doing over here, you see, girls, I'm moving B to R0 and then C to R0. So both B and C values are present in R0. Then what I'm doing, I am adding E, because you see B plus C has been assigned to A and A is assigned to E. So what is the case? B plus C is indirectly added to E. So what I'm doing, that I'm directly doing that thing over here. I'm adding E to R0. So I'm completely taking out A, which is of no use, and what I'm doing, I'm adding E to R0. Then what's the next thing? The next thing is I'm moving the result of B plus C plus E, which was in R0, I'm moving it to D. So the same three address code is now written in simple 4 assembly statements. Rather than writing it in the 6 assembly statements, I have written it in the 4 assembly statements. So which is the good selection, good instruction selection? It is obviously the left side of it. I hope it's clear to everyone. Now girls, okay girls, here is the next topic, the next issue with the code generator. What is it? It is register allocation. So it's very simple, girls. Actually, register allocation, uh, see what happens is, it's the computer is all about saving the memory and time. Like the basic use of computer is to save the space and also save the time. Whenever we write the programs, our primary objective is to save the space in the computer and execute the thing in very less time. So over here you see what is the issue over here is, we always want to execute more number of operations in less number, using minimum number of registers. Girls, I guess everyone is clear about registers. What is meant by register? See, there is a main memory and then there is this cache or the registers, which whenever we execute the program, all our things get loaded in the registers for an easy approach. So what is the primary purpose is, we always want to have, the primary objective is to have uh, is to perform more number of operations with minimum number of registers. So over here, that's the issue with the register allocation. And in register allocation, we again have two different things. One is register allocation and the other one is register assignment. Girls, in your PDF which I have sent you, there is a wrong marking of the arrow marks, so please do and make it correct. Now you see what is meant by register allocation. Register allocation is allocating the variables to registers. That is your register allocation. See, A is being assigned, A is a variable and it is assigned to R0, B is assigned to R1. So we are allocating variables to registers. And what you mean by register assignment? Here we are assigning the registers to the variables, like whatever value is stored in R1 or R0 is given to a variable A, or whatever value is stored in R1 is given to B. See over here, there is this example over here. What is happening over here? This is a 3 address code, and for this 3 address code I have written this assembly language. Girls, once again I remind you, 3 address code is the input, that is 3 address code is the input to the code generator and assembly language is the output of the code generator. So over here you see, in the first 4 steps we are assigning A to registers. This is, we are assigning variable to registers, which is register allocation. And what is in the last step, what is happening in the last step? In the last step we are assigning the value present in R0 to T. So register value has been given to a variable. This is register assignment. Is that clear, girls? I hope. Now the next and the last issue with the evaluation or with the code generator is very simple. It's an evaluation order. See girls, our program have huge number of instructions. Now which instruction needs to be executed first and which to be executed second is also an important issue. What it is, like, see, I have add like A plus B into C. So firstly I need to add up the values and then I need to multiply it with C. So here the selection, the evaluation order is very important. Which needs to be evaluated first is very important. That is your last issue with the code generator. I hope the video is clear to everyone. If it's not and if you have any doubts, then let me know, girls. You're most welcome for any doubts, but I am receiving none of your messages on, neither on WhatsApp, neither on over here. So I guess you people are not following the classes, but if you're not following it, it is total loss for you. Thank you, girls. Bye.